We are finally moving out of the United States, and we don't even know exactly where our final destination is yet. After maybe 2.5 years worth of talking about it, vetting other countries, and planning, we're finally pulling the trigger, and we couldn't be more excited. Now, before I get into where we're going, let me just do a brief introduction for those who are new here. Hi, I'm Josh, and I'm a 43-year-old career marketing professional living in Las Vegas. I moved here about 10 years ago from Charleston, South Carolina, where I had spent the previous decade after growing up in central South Carolina. I started doing short-form video content on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts a little over 1.5 years ago. I have been interested for a while in venturing into long-form content, and this is my first foray into it, so I hope you enjoy it. My content here will largely shift away from the topics of my short-form video content and focus primarily on the new adventures we're going to have once we move, and potentially a little bit on content creation in conjunction with Engagement Heroes, which is the company I'm launching to help others grow on social media. Now for our destination, but first a little context. We were planning to move to Malaysia. After vetting a long list of countries thoroughly, we had decided that Malaysia was the spot for us, and we submitted for visa applications there back around the beginning of 2026. Unfortunately, we ran into a number of challenges on that front, and the process has been dragged out. It's still ongoing, and we don't want to wait around anymore. So we decided that instead we're going to head to the Philippines. She is Filipino-American with parents who immigrated from the Philippines, and she recently got her dual citizenship there, which will help to make things a little bit smoother logistically. And she's already familiar with the country. She spent 2 years there during childhood, and she's been back multiple times in adulthood. I myself have never been, so it's going to be very much a new experience and a new adventure, and I'm really looking forward to embracing it. We don't know exactly yet where we're going to end up in the Philippines. We've identified a few different areas that are appealing to us and kind of check the boxes of the criteria that we're looking for, which are things like high walkability, because we don't want to have to purchase a vehicle when we get there. So we're looking for an area that's pretty well self-contained with everything from grocery shopping and entertainment and dining options and so forth within, a reasonable walking distance. In doing our research, we found a few areas that align with that. And what we're planning to do is actually rent Airbnbs for a few weeks in each of those areas and just feel it out and see which we like the best. And then we'll plan to settle in there. The kicker is we're leaving in 3 weeks. We booked our flights 2 or 3 weeks ago and our first Airbnb for the month of August, and we are headed out August 1st. And we have so much to do to prepare between now and then. But this isn't a sudden decision. Like I said, we've been discussing and planning this for quite a while. Some of you might be interested in knowing the countries we vetted before ultimately deciding on the Philippines. And it was a list of 10 or 12 countries that spanned everything from locations in Central America, like Mexico and Costa Rica and Panama, to South America, including Uruguay and Ecuador. And we looked at Portugal. We looked at, of course, Malaysia, Thailand, and maybe 2 or 3 others that aren't top of mind right now. But we went through a pretty extensive list that we kind of ranked according to cost of living, healthcare, stability of the government and the economy, and a couple other variables. We're not really concerned with education since we don't have children, so that's not a challenge as far as choosing a place to live, which is nice. And we went through this list gradually eliminating one country at a time as we prioritized them according to our needs and desires. Fortunately, we both work remotely, so that's obviously a huge blessing for which we're immensely grateful and makes this whole thing doable. Some of the challenges we're expecting to face are obviously the time zone difference. It's, I think, a 15-hour difference from Pacific time that we've been accustomed to for years. And we're planning to work U.S. East Coast hours, which with the time zone difference equates to night shift there. So that should be interesting. Fortunately, I'm very much a night owl and I'm up working late every night as it is. So I don't think it'll be too much of an adjustment for me. She's not a night owl. She likes to be in bed early and it could be a little bit of a challenge for her, but she is hoping to shift her schedule a bit earlier so that she's not working too entirely late. Another challenge might be the heat and humidity, but honestly, I grew up in South Carolina where it's hot and humid most of the year. I think the weather is rather similar, so I don't think that'll be too much of a challenge, and she obviously is accustomed to it from having lived there and having visited there in recent years. There's also the family component. Her parents are gone, but mine are still around, and they're elderly, and my dad's health isn't great, but I'm in daily communication with my parents as it is. That's not going to change. We'll video call them and make plans to visit them when we can. As for the areas in the Philippines that we want to check out, those include Cebu. So we're going to check out areas in Cebu called the IT Park and potentially Cebu Business Park. Those areas are very self-contained and walkable from what we've been able to tell so far, and really align with what we're looking for. Another area we have our eye on is known as BGC, which is short for Bonifacio Global City. It's a recently developed master plan township just outside of Manila that's very self-contained, very modernized, has everything you need within a short walk, and really ticks all of the boxes that we're looking for, except a beach. I would love to ultimately end up on a beach. Unfortunately, we haven't found one yet that has that self-contained walkability to it. So might have to sacrifice that for now and see if we can make our way toward a beach later. And finally, there's an area called Iloilo, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, that's also self-contained and very walkable and is a bit more affordable than the other areas I've mentioned so far. Although it's fair to say that compared to the US, they're all very affordable. A few of the other things we're looking for are cuisine. I'm a little bit of a foodie and she's a major foodie. So we want a variety of dining options that are ideally within walking distance so that we can mix it up as we please. We're looking for safety. That's one of the criteria by which we eliminated countries. We ruled out areas that were higher in violent crimes. Friends with whom I've already chatted about this have asked things like, well, what about the language? Isn't there a barrier? Well, not really. The Philippines are actually a very English-speaking country. They begin learning English in elementary school, so most of the population is fluent in English. Also, Ro is fluent in a couple of the languages there, including Tagalog and Bisayu. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to cover, and I don't want to try to do it all in one video. So there's going to be plenty of follow-up content, and some of the things you can expect to see are city comparisons, a day in the life, food content, entertainment content. It'll be similar to a tourism channel because we're also planning to explore as much of Southeast Asia as we can, as well as Australia and New Zealand, and anywhere else we get the chance to go. We'd love to visit Japan, for example, so there's going to be a variety of content. So that's the plan. We leave in 3 weeks. We're going to spend a month in Cebu, check it out, and then we haven't even figured out the order yet in which we're going to check out the other places. So TBD on the other locations. And ultimately, we'll figure out where we want to plant ourselves long term. If you want to follow along, and I hope you do, please hit subscribe and stay tuned. There's going to be plenty of content on the mistakes we made, the oh crap moments, as well as the celebratory good times and all of the things. So it's going to be an adventure. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a roller coaster. There are going to be ups and downs, no question. You're going to get a dose of all of it on this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.